As you heard in the news, peace protesters will gather in Birmingham tonight to campaign for an end to the bloodshed in Syria. On the day a UN ceasefire came into force, reports coming out of Syria tonight suggesting the ceasefire has only been partially observed. It follows more than a year of bloodshed that's seen Syria's President Assad respond to anti-government protests with military force. An estimated 9,000 civilians have been killed. Our reporter James Boville is with a Syrian man living in the West Midlands who's just got back from treating refugees who've fled the fighting. James.
Thank you very much, Paul. Well, this man, he doesn't want to be identified because he's told me that he fears for his own family's safety if the Syrian authorities find out what he's been doing over in Syria. But he's lived in the West Midlands for 17 years. He works here as a psychiatrist, but he just returned yesterday from a refugee camp on the Jordan-Syria border where he's been treating people fleeing from the violence in Syria who've got post-traumatic stress disorder. He joins me now. First of all, I want to ask you what experiences the refugees who've been fleeing the violence have been describing to you about what's happening out there in Syria.
Most of my patients actually I saw were suffering of either being tortured themselves or they saw extreme torture in front of their eyes. They saw people killed and they saw people shot at. One case, one of them described to me how his own friend was exploded in front of his eyes because he was hit by RBJ bomb. And he just was severely distressed. He can't just forget it. It's coming back to his eye, in front of him again and again and again. There were a woman who actually saw 5 members of her family killed in front of her. One of them, her own brother, and he was begging her to save him and help him. And she said, how would I be able to do even rush to him? She would be shot straight away. So the extreme actually became so distressing to me when I was seeing them. In many cases when, I hear again and again and again the story, I myself become emotional because you can never imagine that a human being could do this to another human being, no matter what age. I mean, most of these people never saw any armed gang. They were just demonstrating, and when they spot them and they target them, they just destroy the house and destroy the family.
Yeah. So for every extreme case of violence like that, there's someone left behind who is really psychologically affected. What kind of effect has it had on the people that you've been treating out there?
I saw 63 cases in the 9 days I was there. Obviously, the travel was 1 day back, 1 day going, 7 days. And 63 cases, nearly 50 of them suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. And to the stage that one girl who was 15 was unable to talk anymore because she witnessed her own father being killed and shot at when he came to rescue her because they took her as a hostage. They knew that she might be targeted to get her father, so they smuggled her to another house, and they had a tip-off, the government had a tip-off where she was, so they went and brought her and a few other ladies out to force the father and his friends to come and try to save her. So from that experience, she just went mute. She just can't talk. My whole interview with her was yes and no answers. And one of them actually, again another guy who wouldn't be able to talk because he was tortured for weeks with electricity. And one of them actually, when I asked about, because we do something called EMDR, which is like eye movement desensitization and recognition process, which is similar to cognitive behavior therapy, but it's shorter and you will rely on the eye movement, the quick eye movement. And this man, I said, try to imagine, envision those who were torturing you. And he said, I can't. I said, why? He said, because I was always blindfolded and I can't see who was hitting me and where the hit was coming from. So these extremes, I mean, one of them, she said, I went to see, because her children went to pick olive from the nearby field, and the army planted mines there. And she said when the explosion happened, she went to see, and she found their children like slaughtered sheep, she said to me. And 2 died, and one permanently injured, and one was shot, had a shot in the face.
Just horrific experiences that you had to try and deal with. But you tell me that you even fear for your own family's safety by even going out there. And if you identify yourself, then you fear for what the government might do to you and to your family. Why do you feel that way? Because
they've done it many times. Actually, my own brother said, if you speak if you speak to the press, are you speaking to the press? I said no, because we've been helping by sending money, and we've been helping. Now I went myself to the border, near the border. I can't go to Syria. I mean, I wasn't in Syria itself. I was in the border where there's around more than 20,000. So, and he said, "Are you speaking to the press?" I said no. He said, because they just killed our relatives. It's not a joke. It's not something. And that's killing is actually a mercy, but the torture is the things which is people are afraid of and terrified. So I went there.
You felt so strongly about what was happening out there that you just felt like you had to go out there and do something about it. Yeah.
Yes, I did, because my friend went to the Turkish border and he saw queues of people who have been suffering from the post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not a disorder known to the people. And we were only able to bring the sufferers by saying anyone who has nightmares, frightening dreams, anyone who gets angry during the day, frustrated, anyone who gets nervous during the day, involved in a fight or whatever, should come and see us. And then
we'll have to leave it there for now, but this is a fascinating story, and I know, Frank C, we're going to want to hear a lot more from him after 5 o'clock. He's going to be talking to me about the ceasefire that's happened today and whether he feels like there can be a long-lasting peace process in Syria. So do come back to me a bit later in the afternoon and we'll have more of this fascinating story.
James, thank you. James Boville, with a man from Syria living in the West Midlands who's just got back from treating refugees who have fled the fighting, and we'll get more about this protest as well, this Amnesty International peace protest, which is happening in Chamberlain Square in Birmingham tonight.
Have your say on BBC WM 95.6. Text the letters WM and then your message to 81333.